Late Night Health continues. Felica Stoler is our guest. She's been on the show a couple of times. She's a registered dietitian, nutritionist, exercise physiologist, and the author of Living Skinny and Fat Genes. We're going to talk about diets that do more than drop weight. Let's face it, Thanksgiving is just around the corner. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and all those fattening holidays are just coming up. And I say them regardless of what you believe and celebrate, they're all fattening. From latkes to, I'm trying to think of a Christmas dish right now. Daryl, help me out. What's a fattening Christmas dish?
Everything.
All the chocolate. Anyway, and I eat it all. And I know I shouldn't. So, if I diet and I drop some pounds, can I also maybe do something else like, lower cholesterol at the same time, Felica?
Of course you can. I always say that the word diet stands for did I eat that, right?
That's
but,
very
the
good.
truth is if you start off losing as little as 5% of your body weight, you will start seeing improvements in other lab values. So looking at things like cholesterol, looking at blood sugar, blood pressure, resting heart rate. I mean, those are other, lab values that are very important.
And things like brain fog. I couldn't believe that. A better brain function?
Right. You can have better brain function. And I also look at it in terms of, if depending on the eating that you're doing now and what you do, you could look at it in terms of what are you doing for longevity and health, because to me, I just want to ward off heart disease and for a lot of people they think about cancer, but heart disease is the number one killer in this country. And,
of
so
both men and women.
Correct. And so much of that is attributed to what I call preventative factors. Do you exercise? Do you not? Do you sleep? Or do you have stress management? Do you choose better for you foods? Are you at an appropriate body weight, or are you overweight or obese? So I think that there's a lot to be said for that in terms of what's going on with our health. And so I look at it as preventative. We can absolutely, totally, take care of improving our longevity by making better for you lifestyle choices.
Let's talk about, today is election day, and we won't talk about it too much throughout the country. It's midterm elections. And I was wondering about healthy candidates. We did a thing during the last election and determined that the three contenders, Mr. Trump, Mrs. Clinton, and Mr. Bernie, all three of them had some health issues.
Right.
Do you think our candidates for Congress and Senate are healthy in general or not?
Well, I'll tell you, running for office is definitely an endurance event, and it's mentally grueling and it's physically grueling, and the hours that they keep doing their jobs are probably go against everything we know about healthy living. So, and I think this whole country's really stressed out right now with the elections. I think everybody's on a heightened state of anxiety. So, again, yes, people, but I think what's interesting is that they do represent so much of what we all experience in our own lives.
The cortisol level in Congress must be exceptionally high right now.
I'm sure, right? Well,
right.
Have you ever been to the U.S. halls of Congress or the Senate? I've been there, and
yes.
In their office buildings. They actually have some decent cafeterias there, and they have a gym there, too.
Yeah, but only for the senators and Congress people.
I think that the staff can do that too. The cafeteria is open to the public. I don't know about the gym.
I've eaten in the Capitol cafeteria a number of times. I've actually worked with the Natural Products Association, lobbying Congress on things like GMOs. You and I have talked about that. I think we disagree, but that's okay. I just want it labeled. I want people to know what it is. I think that's important. And I think that's important for diet.
Right, exactly. And I was just at the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics annual meeting, and I met somebody who's a dietitian who actually works in Congress, and she is doing worksite wellness for members of Congress. So I think that's awesome.
I think that is too. Hey, let's talk about fasting.
It's the rage. I'm so excited to talk about that.
Do you fast? Have you ever fasted?
I'm Jewish. I fast at least once a year. And, that's what's so fascinating about fasting is that, if you think about it, and I talk about this in my book, we've all evolved from humans that have that thrifty gene that survived feast or famine because, let's face it, food was not always plentiful. And then, I believe it's five major religions in the world practice fasting regularly. So that is something that I have done. But, a few years ago, things like intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating and prolonged fasting just started to creep up, and I've been so intrigued by it. When it first came out, I was like, well, let's wait and see. And now, the science has evolved. I'm actually going to a fasting conference this weekend. I'm so excited to participate in it.
And they won't be serving anything?
Continuing education, right? We won't have to worry about the meals, right?
Right.
But, no. But I'm so intrigued by it, and one in particular is called the fasting mimicking diet, which I just completed last week myself. So, again, I mentioned there's intermittent fasting, there's time-restricted eating, and prolonged fasting is another form of fasting where you get to fast, but you get to eat some food, and it was created by a researcher by the name of Walter Longo, and he was recently chosen by Time Magazine as one of the 50 most influential people who are transforming healthcare. He was doing research looking at longevity, right? So we all want to live a little bit longer. And what he found was that in doing a fasting diet, people just could not adhere to it. I mean, that's always a challenge in research, whether or not people could adhere to a diet. So what he was able to do was create a diet where you could literally fast with food. So there's just enough food to feed you so you're not completely cranky. But, in terms of what, the way most people would react to fasting, but what happens is that the stomach sees food while the cells are in a fasted state. So what happens is you're increasing circulatory levels of stem cells, you're maintaining lean muscle mass, which is real important, and improving healthy levels of metabolic markers. So at the end of the day, the end result, what they're looking for is longevity, but one of the side effects is weight loss. And I did it, and I'm going to admit I'm a woman in menopause right now, and I lost 6 pounds in 5 days.
Whoa, baby.
Right. And you talk, and all my girlfriends are dying to try it because, I don't know how many women that are of that age, but even myself being a dietitian and doing everything right, I still had that little creep.
I get it. Once a year, you and I fast, okay?
Right.
I don't make it as long as you do, probably. But it's a 24-hour fast for the Jewish holidays and for the Day of Atonement. And as you mentioned, other religions do that too. But that's for a day. I know that in Islam there are fast days as well, and you fast during the day and eat at night, or the other way around. I'm not sure.
Right.
These one-day fasts, they seem to be harder than going like 4 days. Right.
Well, look, a one-day fast is very challenging, but what's so amazing about like Prolon, for example, it's Prolon FMD as in fasting mimicking diet, is that they do it over 5 days. So what happens is in the first day, the body is sensing like, hey, I haven't had any food, right? And then in days 2 through 3, there's sort of a shorter term fasting, and day 4 through 5, there's even more fasting. So literally what's happening is you're getting some weight management going on. You have what we call autophagy, which is basically where the body is cleaning up cells, right? It's taking care of cells that need to be cleaned up, repaired, or, disposed of. Then apoptosis is cell death. So these are things that go on during the course of this. And so this has been done and documented in mice, and now it's been documented in humans that we're doing this. So if you think about it, it's very controlled. It cannot be replicated. So what's really unique, again, about the Prolon FMD is that you can order it online and a box with 5 days of food, and it's real food. It's plant-based food. I don't like to eat things that are chemicals, and it's all natural products, real ingredients you can read, and it's food,
Wow.
And it's calorie controlled. It was really a wonderful experience. And for me as a clinician, I need to do all of these things so I can understand what my clients are going through, what patients are going through when I'm making a recommendation. And with something like this, it's recommended that you do it, again, depending on what your what your goals are, whether it be weight loss or longevity. You do it.
I want longevity, but I want to know who I am. That's one of the problems, that.
Well, I did my 23andMe, so I know who I am.
Oh, okay. And just tattoo it to your hand.
I went a little crazy on the rest of my family about their disease states and what we have in our genes and what's lifestyle factors. But
well, there's the music. What we're going to do is take a break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Diets that do more than drop weight is our conversation with dietitian and clinician Felica Stoler. Don't go away. More coming up here on Late Night Health, and be sure to join us at latenighthealth.com, latenighthealth.com. And while I'm thinking about it, go to bossbossradio.com, and you can listen to Daryl Wayne, bossbossradio.com.
I will be there.
He will be there, all over the place. All right, we will be back. Don't go away as Late Night Health continues.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. When you give others a reason to smile through the kindness you bestow upon them, you'll discover the true meaning of gratitude. This is all about knowing you've made some positive change in the world. Volunteering is one of those special ways you can make this positive ripple. Volunteers may be the ones who give of their time, but they're always the ones who make time to give of all their heart. The beauty of love is, even though you can give of yourself wholeheartedly, you still have more love to give away. Love is heaven's charitable cash. That's why you should spend your life giving it all to others. Giving is simply the ultimate gift of receiving.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit guidetothesoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on latenighthealth.com.
The stigma around mental health disorders and suicide is still very strong in our culture. It's an uncomfortable topic for many of us, and yet it's something we can't afford to ignore, according to Dan Shuck, the author of A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups. Last month, the CDC released a study that reports suicide rates went up more than 30% in half the states since 1999. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, takes a new approach to addressing mental illness. The book playfully explores pessimism versus optimism to find balance, manage stress, and enjoy life. The book uses humor to provide an opportunity to determine the fullness of our own glass and how to apply it to our daily lives. Donations from the proceeds of the book will be made to a Glass Half Question fundraising campaign for the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, is available from Amazon.com, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble. For more information, visit www.glasshalfquestion.com.